I'm Trisha Bear. I'm going to teach you how to make biscuits with smoked Gouda cheese in them. So I've already turned on my oven at 400 degrees. And our ingredients for the biscuits are bread flour, 10 ounces. And I've already sifted all of the dry ingredients, so you're going to put all the dry ingredients in a KitchenAid mixer with a paddle attachment. Now if you don't have a mixer, you can use a pastry blender. So that's my bread flour. That's my bread flour, and we've already sifted it. I'm going to mix all the dry ingredients, which is going to be the biscuit method that we're using to mix. So we have the bread flour, and then the recipe calls for pastry flour, but if you don't have pastry flour, and it's calling for 10 ounces of pastry flour, if you don't have pastry flour, you can use 5 ounces of all-purpose flour in addition to 5 ounces of cake flour. So that is what takes the place of the pastry flour. And we've already sifted that as well. So we're going to add that to the mixing bowl. I'm going to pull up this. I've got a paddle attachment on it. Alright, and then we have the cake flour, which is 5 ounces. That's taking the place of the pastry flour along with the all-purpose flour. Alright. And then we have salt, which is 0.375 ounces of salt. And then we have the sugar, 1 ounce of sugar, I apologize. 1 ounce of sugar. Okay, that's 1 ounce of sugar. And then we have the baking powder, which is 1.25 ounces of baking powder, which I've already sifted. Okay, and that's the dry ingredients. So what I like to do is mix the dry ingredients first because it's the biscuit method. Now I just do it on low because if you do it too fast, it'll throw powder everywhere. I've got my baking mat set up with some all-purpose flour. And once you mix that a little bit, then you're going to add in cheese if you decide to use cheese. Now I'm using smoked Gouda cheese because that's my favorite. You can also use cheddar cheese. And you can use 6 ounces of cheese if you'd like. So you're going to mix that in with the dry ingredients. Mix that on low as well. Okay. And then we're going to actually blend in our butter. And it's 7 ounces of butter for this biscuit recipe. And it's cool butter, not cold butter, so I let it set out for about 15 minutes and then I chopped it up into like large dice-sized pieces. So now we're going to add that to the dry ingredients. And you want to mix it until the butter is like the size of a pea. So let that mix up. And once that mixes up, we are going to add our milk. We ended up adding about 13 ounces of milk for this recipe. Normally this recipe will make about 12 biscuits. It depends on what size you use. And I'm using this ring size. If you ever get a chance to go on Shein or any other website, these are really handy circle measurements for your biscuits. So it has all kinds of different measurements depending on what you're making. So it's really handy to have this. And if you don't have these, you can also use a glass. Just regular glass. Okay, and you don't want to over mix it, so just combine it until it's mixed up. Okay, and then now finally we're going to add our milk. And that should give us the texture in order to make up our biscuits. I have a baking mat here that I had put some all-purpose flour on so that the biscuits don't stick to it. Okay, that's good. Let's see if it's sticky. Still kind of sticky. Yeah. It's still kind of sticky, so you want to mix it some more until it's not sticky. See how it's a little bit funky? Alright, so now we're going to use the bow scraper. Take it out of the bowl. Alright, so we've got to get all of our ingredients. You want your biscuits after you roll them out, you want them to be about a ½ inch thick. And biscuits usually double in size. Okay, so we're basically going to knead the dough about 6 or 8 times, about 30 seconds. And I'm going to use gloves just because I have polish on my hands. I don't want to get the glitter in the food. So. Just like so. So we're going to kind of knead it. About 30 seconds. We don't want to over knead it because then it makes the biscuits really tough. Just about 30 seconds. Get it into a ball. Okay. So now it's starting to look more like dough and not as sticky. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to gently roll it out. then we can cut out our circle shapes on it. So, flour on the rolling pin so it doesn't stick to the rolling pin. Alright, so I'm just going to roll it out till about 1/2 inch thick. And then I'm going to cut out my biscuits. What we're going to see, it says it should make 12 biscuits. Just like so. And make sure that you got enough flour on underneath it so it don't stick when you try to cut the biscuits. Now when we use the circle to cut out our biscuit shape, we don't want to twist it when we do that because that over kneads the dough, and you don't really want to massage it or knead it more than you need to because it'll make the biscuits tough. Alright, so we're trying to get it down to 1/2 inch thick because they're actually going to double in size. So I think that's about 1/2 inch thick. Alright, and so then we're going to use our cutter, circle cutter, and go straight down without twisting it. We don't want to twist it because that's adding extra kneading to it that we really don't need. Okay, and I have my cookie sheet over here. And I do like to lightly grease the pan so that it don't see just lightly. Alright. Alright. Just like that, straight up. See how round it is? And it's about 1/2 inch thick, so it's going to rise and be about 1 inch thick when it gets done. Just like so. Straight up. Half inch thick. A little too thick. I'm going to roll it just a little bit extra. I think it's a little more thicker in the center. We want them all to cook the same. Okay, now let's try it. Okay, so my oven, we're going to cook it at 400 degrees, 15 to 20 minutes. My oven usually cooks fast. So if you get a chance at Walmart, you can get an oven thermometer. I would do that so that you can measure the exact temperature of your oven because mine normally cooks fast. I just normally put them about 1 inch apart. So we've got 8 now. I told you it would make a dozen, so yeah, it makes a dozen. 8 there. It's not quite as round as I'd like it to be. There you go, there's 12 biscuits right there. Now I have an extra dough. I'm going to try these and see if we can still salvage them and make more dough out of it. Two, three, four. So we can actually make 4 more biscuits. So grab a pan, we're going to put those in there. Okay. We'll just put these in a little pie pan. Now these instructions said to keep them separated, but these I'm going to put together because I want to show you if they are touching, it actually makes the edges softer. We're going to make these touching, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now we're going to make save that for later. Alright. So we got our biscuits down, we got our oven at 400-degree temperature. So we're going to cook these for 15 minutes and look at them and see if they're golden brown. Say 15 minutes. Got the biscuits out of the oven, and the recipe said 15 to 20 minutes. I ended up cooking them about 18 minutes. So like I said, it depends on your oven on how long you need to cook them. But I would start checking them at the lowest amount of time that the recipe has, which for this one, the cheddar biscuits, was 15 minutes. So I actually cooked them for 18 minutes. And I want you to look at the top of them. I did brush them with egg wash, which is basically eggs and milk or eggs and water. But I did brush them with egg wash. And when you open them up, you can see how the dough looks. Fluffy. And it actually rose a pretty good size, so we didn't over knead it or it wouldn't have risen double the size that we shaped it into, the circles. But that's the inside. They taste really good. I did put honey butter on top. I brushed it on. That's one of my favorite butters is honey butter. They taste delicious. The only thing that I didn't like is I did add 6 ounces of smoked Gouda, but I can't taste them. I can't taste the cheese in the biscuits, so they kind of dissolved into the biscuits. But maybe next time I'll add more cheese in it, and maybe try just cheddar cheese next time I make them. That's it. That's it. That's how you make homemade biscuits. And as you can see, it made that one batch made 3, 6, 9, 13. I ate one, my husband ate one, so made about 15 biscuits. And then any extra dough, little dough I had, I made these little biscuits. So that's it. Thank you for watching my video, and stay tuned because the next video I do in November is going to be Hawaiian nut bread. Thanks for watching.